I was home. The semester was over. It was finals week. Frantically, I worked to finish the final pages of my research paper for experimental psychology. The paper was due by 4. It was 3:55. I called my instructor to tell her that I'd be there by 4:20. I was in control. As humans, we always are, even when we aren't. To survive the uncertainty of our lives, we create stories and believe in them as faithfully as a child in the Tooth Fairy. Among the most convincing of these stories is the belief in the omnipotence of human control. We believe, almost as fact, that the world around us is subject to our will and that it is in our control. We believe this because it seems too scary not to. It was 4:05 when I got into my car. It was raining then. I was in a hurry. After dropping off my paper, I had to go see my father in the hospital. We never thought the pain was his heart. For years, he would get those attacks, pain in the middle of his chest that his doctor passed off as asthma. But recently, it had gotten worse. It wasn't unexpected. A lot had changed that year, and if there was one thing my father hated, it was change. He surrounded himself so much with what was familiar, and any threat to it disturbed him. He filled his office with hundreds of pens, unwilling to throw a single one away. By keeping each pen, he maintained his sense of control. But he couldn't control the change that happened around him. That year, my sister got married and my mother moved for work. It was hard on my father, and his heart paid the price. It was 4:10 now, but I wasn't worried. I knew I had enough time before I needed to meet my mother. She was already at the hospital. She would have it no other way. When my mother first heard he was sick, the news so consumed her that she tripped on the stairs and sprained her ankle. Until now, she can't even remember how. That's always how she was. Whenever something was on her mind, she couldn't see the world around her. This time, it was that final stare that she didn't notice. It was just another detail that threatened to disturb the balance and depth of her thoughts, a detail that threatened her sense of control. At the time she heard the news, she was working in New York. It was a job she had worked hard for. But when she found out about my father, a stewardess pushed my mother's wheelchair onto the earliest flight to Wisconsin. She came home that Thursday. The emergency bypass surgery was scheduled first thing Monday morning. The whole thing would be over in a few days. No problem. The doctor was in control. It was 4:12 now, and my younger sister and I were on our way. It was raining more then, so when the light turned yellow, I decided I had plenty of time to get through the signal. But the car in front of me didn't think so. It stopped. It must have been seconds, but took hours. I left my house at 4:05 to be at school by 4:20. My father entered the surgical room on Monday to be out by Friday. We're all in control. We make our plans, we draw them out and fill them in. My car would never make it to campus. My car would never go anywhere again. My father never left the hospital that Friday or the next. My father would not leave the hospital for the next 5 weeks. It was only by the grace of God that he left at all. At 55 miles an hour, I slammed into the car ahead of me. At 48 hours after his surgery, my father had a heart attack and went into heart failure. The car never asked my permission, and neither did his heart. There was nothing either of us could do to control it. It was 5 o'clock. A tow truck dropped me off. I was 45 minutes late and right back where I'd started. I was home.